Commanders.
I like the Giants plus 6.5. At least one underdog of 6+ points has won outright in week one. I think the Giants could be the play. They played 9 one-score games last year, and both games against the Commanders were close. Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Abdul Carter. This is a top 2 or 3 defensive line. And, I mean, let's be honest. It's week one. We saw what D-lines can do last night. Malik Neighbors, matchup problem, even with Dan Quinn. Back end of the defense last year for Washington was a bit of a mess. The Commanders, great year, but they played 12 one-score games, and their defense, again, was bad with a defensive coach. So I think the Debo Terry McLaurin thing is fascinating, but I think it won't be perfect until later in the season. This is a go-either-way game. I'll take Washington to win, but 6.5, I'm taking it with the Giants. 27-23, Commanders close.
Okay. So he did pick the Commanders to at least win the game. So just as a quick refresher, the way how I always handle this is I don't care about the spread. Colin's obviously doing it for that. I don't care about that. I'm just looking at it straight from the actual prediction itself. So he does have the Commanders winning the game. Because at first I was just like, you're really going to have the Commanders lose this game? Like, no way. So, all right, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think the Giants are clearly going to be, this is going to be the best the Giants have been in years, right? I'm less concerned about what Colin and everyone else kind of keeps saying about all these one-score games and blah, 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 blah with the Commanders and saying that the defense wasn't good with the defensive head coach. It was year one. They were completely rebuilding, reworking this team. Like, it's going to take a minute for Dan Quinn to get this defense. They drafted defensively. Like, they're making moves defensively. I believe this defense will be better this year than it was last year. Do I think we're going to be able to see Dan Quinn's true vision just yet? No. And listen, coaches can turn defenses around very quickly. No doubt about it. We saw the Eagles do that with Fangio. But you got to nail some draft picks. They needed to draft Cooper DeJean and Mitchell to be able to really make that pop. And they made Zach Bond pop. Like, you needed a collection of players to really step up, right? So like it's a combination of things. So I'm just not going to be too harsh on Dan Quinn from the jump here. Now, I think actually the fact that it is week one, I agree it's not going to be perfect with Terry McLaurin and Debo, but I think the fact that no one has really seen it together quite yet bodes well. More for Cliff Kingsbury for what he's going to want to do. But I just think there's going to be a lot of success here for this game. So I mean, but yeah, it is week one. Everyone's going to be a little rusty. Jaden Daniels going to be a little rusty. Terry McLaurin's a little rusty. Debo, I mean, Ertz, like, oh, it is like that much is going to be true. So I think predictions going into week one are always tough. And I always take them a lot less seriously personally. I'm recording this before the Chargers versus the Chiefs game, so I have no idea how that game shaped up, but we could see that the Cowboys and Eagles were both rusty. CD Lamb's not catching the ball. The Eagles defense was definitely not as connected and making a lot of penalties as well. So week one is week one, man. I think the Commanders got really one of the more favorable matchups for week one, because it's not too easy of in a game where you're talking about playing, all right, you're playing like the Cleveland Browns or something. It is a divisional game, but it's not like week one Eagles or Cowboys. Like, it's the Giants. They have a lot of new moving parts, new quarterback, new pieces. So I think it's actually kind of a better week one game, because it's everyone really needs to be focused. Like, no Commanders players is kind of sleeping on the Giants right now, even though they believe that they're obviously the better team. They're not going to just kind of sleepwalk through preparation as they maybe could, kind of, if you're playing a team that you believe is just going to be awful, like the Cleveland Browns. So I think this actually bodes well. I'm actually curious to see the type of energy the Commanders bring. Like, I actually hope it's actually a competitive game, because I want to see how buttoned up the Commanders look. I don't want to see an easy game from the Commanders. I don't want to see a game where they win, 35-14 or something. Like, that doesn't actually really tell me anything. I want to see how I really, what I'm looking for all the week 1 games are just how comfortable are you? How organized are you? Are you, what type of penalties are you getting? What's the level of intensity, the preparation, right? Are you just kind of more all smiles? Are you more serious? I want to see how hard the defense gets after it, right? Like, how physical are they being? I want to see the decision making out of Jaden Daniels. I want to see, is he using his legs a lot? Is he actually pulling back a little bit on his legs? Like, how is Debo going to be used? Right? Like, I'm really curious. Does that connection continue with Zach Ertz? How does the run game look like? Right? Like, it's like I want to see all those things, and I want to see them in an actual football game, not we beat a team that's clearly not good. And that's why I think it's, hopefully the Giants are who I think they are, and a lot better than they were last year. So then you get at least a more accurate representation of what you need your team to be in any given moment. Outside of games just being close just because they're divisional games, right? Like, I sometimes divisional games are close and the other team is still bad. And so that it's like always a tough game to kind of gather data on and kind of gather opinions on. But so this game technically does have that risk. Same thing with the Eagles and the Cowboys. And that's why you got to wait a handful of weeks to kind of really get a sense of, like, well, how good is Russell Wilson with the New York Giants, right? Like, how good is this defense actually with now, like, Abdul Carter, et cetera, et cetera. So when you're kind of really trying to figure out a team, when they made some bit, they're clearly a different team than they were last year. In a more dramatic way, I just think you definitely have to give that team a minute or two to try to figure out who they are, which then it makes it a little bit more difficult to evaluate who the Commanders are by virtue of playing against them. So, because that's, you just have to kind of use who you're playing as a frame of reference. So, this game could be sneaky interesting, honestly, because you also remember you got some coaches on the Giant staff that are coaching for their career in some situations here, right? Not only for just to stay, for their job, but some of them it's just like, I don't know if you'll ever get the position you got ever again in the NFL, right? Definitely not for any time, specifically the GM. So you're gonna get a high level of effort from the Giants for sure. I'm curious to see how this lands. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Washington Commanders? Colin picking them to win 27-23. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.